Imagine a man who had everything money could buy, yet felt an immense emptiness. A man who chose to trade the comfort of a noble life for the relentless vastness of the desert. Today, we will discover the story of Anthony, the one who faced his own demons in the solitude of the Egyptian sands and found that sometimes we must lose ourselves from the world to find ourselves in God. A journey of 105 years, where silence became the most beautiful music and aridity made a garden bloom in the soul. Before we begin this walk through the dunes of time, I invite you to become part of our community of peace. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like, a simple gesture that helps bring this calm to more people. And I would love to know who is with me on this journey. Write in the comments which city you're listening from, or if you feel it in your heart, leave your prayer intention. Let us together create a space of light and welcome here and now. Now, allow yourself a moment of pause. Wherever you are, seated in a comfortable chair, lying down after a long day, or simply seeking refuge, adjust your body. Feel the weight of your shoulders relax. Release the tension in your jaw. Breathe deeply, inhaling calm, exhaling haste. Air flows in and out, like the wind that blows across the dunes we will visit today. There is nothing to solve right now, no notifications to check, no pending matters to worry about. In this moment, there exists only your breath and my voice. Allow yourself to be here entirely. You are safe. This is your sanctuary of time. Today, we will travel far away to a land of relentless sun and infinite starlit nights. We go to Egypt in the 3rd century, but not to see the pyramids or the pharaohs. We go to the desert, to the Thebaid, where silence is so vast you can hear your own soul. We will walk beside Anthony. Prepare your senses. Feel the dry heat on your skin. Hear the rustle of palm leaves, and let the peace of the desert enter your heart. Imagine the Nile Valley, fertile and verdant, a ribbon of life cutting through the golden desert. The year is 251 after Christ. In the village of Koma in Lower Egypt, life follows the rhythm of the river's floods. The smell of fertile silt mingles with the sweet aroma of ripe dates and freshly baked barley bread. The sun is a constant presence, a warm hand that blesses the harvests and bronzes the skin of the peasants. It is here that Anthony is born. Son of noble and wealthy Christians, he grows up surrounded by the comfort of a house with thick mud walls that keep the interior cool even at noontime. The floor is of packed earth, smooth and cool beneath bare feet. From an early age, Anthony is a child with a focused gaze. While other boys run shouting through the dusty alleys, he prefers to watch the movement of papyrus leaves in the wind or the glimmer of sunlight reflected in the muddy waters of the Nile. His family owns vast lands. Anthony knows the weight of gold coins and the fine texture of Egyptian linen tunics. He hears the sound of negotiations, the clinking of metals, conversations about full granaries. But within him is a different calling, a whisper that does not yet have words. He attends the local church with his parents, and there, in the dim temple, illuminated only by oil lamps, he feels a peace that the wealth of his fields cannot offer. The smell of incense, ancient and penetrating, seems to awaken something in his ancestral memory. When his parents pass away, Anthony is about 20 years old. Suddenly, the large house seems empty. The silence of the rooms, once filled with familiar voices, now echoes solitude. He finds himself responsible for his younger sister and an immense fortune. The weight of administration, accounts, social expectations falls on his young shoulders. He walks through his fields, feeling the fertile earth between his fingers, but his heart is restless. The world, with all its promises of power and comfort, seems too small for the immensity he feels within himself. One day, about 6 months after his parents' death, Anthony walks toward the church. The morning sun is gentle, the sky a cloudless, limpid blue. His thoughts wander about the lives of the apostles, those simple men who left their fishing nets to follow a call. He enters the sanctuary. The contrast between the external light and the internal dimness makes his eyes take time to adjust. The exact moment he steps into the nave, the reader proclaims the gospel. If you wish to be perfect, go, sell what you have, and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come, follow me. The words do not sound like an ancient reading. They sound like thunder, as if directed uniquely and exclusively to him at that precise instant. Anthony's heart races. His hands sweat cold. The air around him seems to stop. He feels dizzy, not from fear, but from recognition. This is the answer. This is the key that opens the door to his restlessness. He does not hesitate. There are no long nights of doubt or prudent calculations. Anthony leaves the church with a firm step, different from the hesitant step with which he entered. He returns home and looks at his possessions, the carved furniture, the oil amphories, the fertile lands. Everything that once seemed solid and necessary now dissolves like mist. He sells everything: the land, the cattle, the furniture. The sound of coins being counted brings him not greed, but relief. He distributes the money to the poor of the village. He sees surprised faces, calloused hands receiving the unexpected, eyes brimming with gratitude. Anthony feels an immense weight lifting from his back, as if removing a heavy, rusted armor under the hot sun. He reserves only a small portion for his sister, entrusting her to the care of known and respected consecrated virgins, ensuring her future in an environment of peace. Now he is free, but where to go? In those times, there were no monasteries as we know them today. Those who desired the solitary life simply withdrew a little farther from the village, building a simple hut. And that is what Anthony does. He walks to the edge of the desert, where cultivated land gives way to sterile sand. Anthony finds an elder already living in prayer on the outskirts. With humility, he learns the first steps of ascetic life. He learns to weave baskets from palm leaves. The rhythmic sound of dry leaves being braided becomes the music of his days. The rough texture of the fiber callousing his noble hands, the smell of dry straw under the sun. He discovers the dignity of manual labor. His hands, once accustomed to holding only what was necessary, now create. With the sale of the baskets, he buys the little bread he eats and donates the rest to the needy. Life becomes simple: water, bread, salt. Sleep is brief, often on a reed mat or directly on the hard ground. But the desert is not only silence, it is a mirror. When the noise of the world ceases, the inner noise increases. Anthony begins to face his own shadows. Memories of the comfort left behind come to visit him. The smell of roasted meat, the taste of wine, the softness of a bed, the caress of a woman, all this arises in his mind with hallucinatory vividness. He feels the heat of temptation, not just as a thought, but as a physical fever. The desert, with its monotonous vastness, becomes a screen onto which his fears and desires project. He sees shapes in the sand, hears whispers in the night wind. "Why did you do this? You won't endure. Go back while there's time." Anthony does not fight with swords, but with the mind. He anchors his thought to the rock of his faith. When anguish squeezes his chest, he sings psalms. His hoarse voice echoes in solitude, vibrating in the dry air. He discovers that discipline is not punishment, it is anchorage. Fasting sharpens his senses, vigil clears his vision. He begins to perceive the subtle beauty around him, the way moonlight silvers the stones, the life cycle of a small beetle in the sand, the change in wind direction that announces the storm. Seeking greater isolation, Anthony decides to go further. He heads to an ancient Egyptian necropolis away from the village. He chooses an empty tomb as his dwelling. The air inside is cold, still, smelling of ancient stone and centuries of dust. It is a place of death, but Anthony goes there to seek true life. A trusted friend brings bread every few days and locks him inside. In the darkness of the tomb, the spiritual battle intensifies. Tradition tells us of physical struggles, deafening noises, visions of wild beasts tearing through the silence. His cries are heard by those passing far away. But metaphorically, Anthony is facing the demons of the human psyche: pride, anger, despair. He is descending into the cellars of his own humanity to illuminate them. Once, his friend finds him unconscious, exhausted, nearly lifeless. They take him back to the village church. But as soon as he regains consciousness, still in pain, he asks, "Take me back." He does not give up. He knows that peace lies on the other side of the storm. And indeed, after the darkest night, a light floods the tomb. A gentle presence, warm and luminous, dispels the shadows. Anthony asks, "Where were you? Why didn't you come sooner to end my suffering?" And an inner voice, serene as the morning breeze, answers, "I was here, Anthony. I was waiting to see your struggle." Strengthened, he decides to cross the Nile and go into the deep desert to the mountain of Pispir. He finds an old abandoned Roman fort full of reptiles and ruins. It is there that he shuts himself in. He blocks the entrance. For 20 years, Anthony lives in total seclusion. 20 years. Imagine the seasons passing, the brutal summer heat that makes the air shimmer over the stones, the biting cold of winter nights that penetrates the bones. Anthony receives bread thrown over the wall by admirers, but sees no one. What happens in those 20 years? Silence transforms him. Solitude ceases to be emptiness and becomes fullness. He learns the language of the desert. He hears the voice of God in the silence between heartbeats. His mind becomes clear as a pool of crystalline water. Passions calm, anxiety disappears. He attains apatheia, not the apathy of indifference, but the unshakable serenity of one who has found the center of everything. One day, friends and curious, worried or desirous of his wisdom, force open the fort's door. They expect to find a madman, skeletal, destroyed by isolation. The door opens with the creak of rusty hinges, and what they see leaves them astonished. Anthony emerges. His body is neither fat from lack of exercise nor thin from fasting. It is healthy, vigorous, but it is his face that impresses. He radiates a tranquil light. His eyes have the brightness of youth and at the same time the depth of an elder. There is no sadness, no laughing euphoria. There is only solid, tangible peace. He is a unified man. From that moment on, the desert becomes a city. Multitudes come to him. Men leave the cities to live in nearby caves, wanting to learn from Anthony how to find this peace. He becomes unwittingly the father of them all, the father of monks. Anthony does not give them grand theological theories. He teaches them to observe. "Look," he would say, pointing to the rising sun, "the light always returns. So is mercy." He teaches them to weave baskets to calm the hands, to pray short phrases to calm the mind. He heals the sick not with magic, but with prayer and presence. Simply being near him calms afflicted hearts. His tunic, made of sheepskin and hair shirt, smells of smoke and sand. His voice is gentle, rarely changing. He listens more than he speaks. When he speaks, his words are like drops of fresh water on dry land, few but life-giving. Once, a philosopher traveled to see him and asked, "Father, how can you live here without the comfort of books?" Anthony smiled, a smile that formed gentle wrinkles around his eyes and pointed to the nature around them, the red mountains, the infinite sky, the small flowers that bloomed after rare rain. "My book, O philosopher, is the nature of created things, and it is always present when I wish to read the words of God." Despite loving his disciples, Anthony misses absolute silence. Fame wearies him. He decides to flee again, deeper into the desert, toward the Red Sea. He finds an oasis at the foot of a high mountain, Mount Kolzim. Here there is fresh water springing from the rock. There are some date palms offering shade and sweet fruit. Anthony cultivates a small garden. Yes, in the middle of the desert, he plants vegetables, so that visitors may have something fresh to eat and not tire themselves so much, he says. Imagine the holy elder, over 90 years old, digging the earth, carefully watering each green shoot that defies the aridity. The smell of damp earth in the middle of the desert is a sensory miracle, the green leaves contrasting with the red rock. He lives there his final years. Wild animals come to drink water, and according to tradition, he speaks gently with them, asking them not to eat his garden, and they obey. The harmony of Eden seems restored around this man who pacified the war within himself. When he feels his end approaching, Anthony is 105 years old. His body is worn like an old garment, but his spirit is more alive than ever. He calls his two closest disciples, Macarius and Amatus. There is no drama, no fear, only the serenity of one who knows he is returning home. He asks to be buried in secret in the sand, without grand tombs, without pilgrimages. He wants to return to dust anonymously as he lived. He leaves his sheepskin tunic to a bishop friend, Athanasius, and his goat hair tunic to another. These are his only possessions. He lies down on the cave floor. The ground is hard, but to him it is a lap. He closes his eyes. His breathing becomes slow, spaced. The sound of the wind outside seems to whisper his name. He sees friendly faces, angels perhaps, or simply the pure light he sought all his life. With a light sigh, almost imperceptible, Anthony departs. The desert guards his body. Silence embraces him one last time. The life of Saint Anthony seems distant to us, radical, perhaps impossible. But if we look closely, his desert is not so different from ours. How many times have we not felt surrounded by noise, demands, anxieties, desiring only a moment of peace? Anthony teaches us that silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of attention. He shows us that it is possible to find an inner oasis even when everything around is arid. As you continue your tasks today, or as you prepare for sleep, remember Anthony's garden amid the stones. There exists a space within you that no one can touch, a place of calm and freshness that is always there, waiting for your visit. You don't need to go to Egypt. Just close your eyes, breathe deeply, and find your own inner mountain. If this desert story brought a little freshness to your soul, consider subscribing to the Sacred Repose channel. It is an immense joy to have you with us on this journey of peace. If you can, leave your like. It's a simple gesture, silent as a nod, that helps these stories reach other hearts seeking rest. Stay in peace. May Anthony's silence guard your thoughts today. Until our next story.